Go ahead and get started in just a few. First, I want to say welcome everyone. My name is Whitney Forstall Grand Prix. I'm the Associate Director of Alumni Engagement at the University of New Orleans in the Alumni Office. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, there is the chat box. Myself and Francie, my coworker, the other Associate Director in the Alumni Office, we will be monitoring the chat. So if you have any questions as we go along, go ahead and put those questions in the chat box. And then if it's something that we'll address right there, or what we'll do is at the end, we can also have time for questions after the presentation is over. So with that, I would like to go ahead and introduce Holly Burmaster with Microsoft. And we're going to do getting organized with OneNote today. We've all seen OneNote on our Windows menu, but how can we actually use it? In this workshop, Holly from Microsoft will show us how to use this powerful tool to improve our personal and professional lives. So with that said, welcome everyone, and Holly.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that intro. If we're ready to go, then I already have our presentation pulled up here, and we'll start pulling through this. And not only am I going to have this presentation up as our source, I'm also going to be able to pull up OneNote on my own as well and show you some live demos about how to use OneNote. And I want to make sure we have at least 5 to 10 minutes at the end for any questions. So if you have anything that you would like me to show again or something I can expand on, we can go ahead and do that as well. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in and talk about the topics that we're going to cover today. So today we've got an informative workshop planned that will help you get organized in multiple areas of your life by using the OneNote app for Windows 10. During this workshop, we are going to understand the purpose and personal uses of OneNote. We are going to explore organization tips while creating a OneNote notebook. Recognize resources and opportunities to continue to learn how to use OneNote in your home and work life. Typically, we would have an introduction portion here, but we're not going to worry about that too much since we have a very large group of people here with us today. So we'll go ahead and pass through this and move on to our next portion. So what is OneNote? We do have a video here, and I may need to reshare my screen, and pardon me just 1 second. I'm unfortunately not quite as Zoom oriented as I may need to be. I want to make sure that we can hear the sound. So let's see here. Yes, let's make sure that share sound is clicked on. That's important. And let me know if you can't hear this, if I need to adjust anything, but hopefully you can.
OneNote is your very own digital notebook. Whether you have a million ideas, a million things to do, or a million things to remember, OneNote is the perfect app for capturing pretty much everything. Type notes or record audio at your desktop. Sketch or write ideas on a tablet. Or add a picture from your phone. And because all your notes are in the cloud, OneNote lets you switch devices and pick up where you left off. And once you've captured everything with OneNote, you can organize it however you want. Freely move notes around the page, organize those pages into sections, and keep your sections in one or more notebooks. OneNote can capture it all and help you find it instantly later. OneNote is as structured or as unstructured as you want it to be. You can even share your notebooks with others, so you can all view and contribute at the same time, turning a few isolated notes into a resounding symphony. Learn how to use OneNote to capture, organize, and share everything that matters to you at office.com/training.
All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and keep on moving through here. So we have our Why Use OneNote section. OneNote is a free Microsoft Office product you can use to create dynamic digital notebooks that can live both locally on your device as well as in the cloud when using your Microsoft account in OneDrive, giving you access to all your content on any device. Use OneNote for unlimited projects like organizing for home, family, recreation, and hobbies, groups you collaborate with, setting goals, tracking meetings, or at work while reducing the amount of paper you need to protect and store. Currently, there are various versions of OneNote. First, there is OneNote 2016 Legacy version, which is part of the Office 2016 previous suite of products. Second is the OneNote for Windows 10 app, which we'll use today. And the third is the free OneNote online version. And fourth is the mobile version that you can download onto your phone. The powerful features you'll see today are available when you use the OneNote app for Windows 10, enhanced by an Office 365 subscription. If you use a different operating system, i.e. not a Windows device, or you don't have an Office 365 subscription, you can use the free OneNote online version, although the look and features available may vary. So now we have some of our demo pieces, and if we have any extra bits to show you within OneNote, we'll switch over between the two. So we'll take a look here. So let's get started by creating a OneNote notebook together. So we'll show you the steps on the screen, and if you want to follow along on your device, you can do that as well. So our first step would be to open OneNote for Windows 10, and you can do that by searching for it in the search bar in your bottom left-hand corner of your desktop. If you have yet to create a new notebook, as we'll see indicated on the screen here, you can select the large section on the right to create a notebook. If it does open up with a previous notebook displayed, you can select the arrow to show your notebook list, and at the bottom of the column, you can select Add Notebook. And we'll see that here in just a second. So you can type in a name for your notebook, and then select on Create Notebook. When you use your Microsoft account to sign into OneNote, the notebooks you create are available on any device you sign into, including your phone when you install the mobile app. So really quickly, let's pop up OneNote here. And this is what my OneNote appears as when I bring it up on my computer. So if you get this screen, instead of the screen that prompts you with the Create a New Notebook screen, you can go up to this drop down right here. And that's right next to the name of your notebook. And at the very bottom, that is where you're going to find the Add Notebook section. For now, I'm going to stay in my demo notebook, and we'll continue working from there. Now we're going to add some details to our notebook. To rename a section, you can right-click on the section title, then select Rename Section. Type a section name, such as To Do, and then you can press Enter. Select above the line on the page, and you can give it a title. And now we're going to start getting into some things that we can add and change into OneNote. So here you can start putting in a list of things you need to get done. Our example on the screen shows some maintenance that our example may need to complete. And then we're going to take a look at some of our menus here, which are going to help us with those activities that we can complete in OneNote. So here we see the Home tab. This is your ribbon at the top of OneNote. And you'll want to move from your Home menu to your Insert menu. There's also a Draw menu, and we're going to talk more about that one later. And then you also have your View. So we'll get more familiar with these tabs here in a bit. There is one particular section I want to touch on, so let me go back a couple. And there's something we can do here that allows us to create this list into a checklist. So if you need a to-do list that you can interact with, you can do that within OneNote. So let's take a look at how we can do that very quickly. So in OneNote, we have our notebook that we're inside of. This is the encompassing notebook. And you can think of it like an actual binder, maybe a binder for a certain subject that you like to work on. And then every binder you have is going to have sections. So you want to divide it into maybe different projects that you're working on or different notes that you find helpful. And then inside of every section is going to be a list of pages. So these are all things that we can consider when creating our OneNote notebook. So if I wanted a different section, maybe I wanted a section for my, let's just call it our to-do section. And it comes with an untitled page. So if I want to rename my page, I can right-click on it, click on Rename Page, and I can say that it is today's to-do list. So automatically when you rename a page, it also changes the name up here, but you yourself can change this name as well. So here we could start typing things to do. So maybe take the dog for a walk. You can go to the store, maybe clean up the house, etc. So you can type in a few things there to start creating your to-do list. And as you can see, OneNote creates it in this small box here. You can manipulate this box. So once my icon here turns to that four-pronged icon, I can click and hold to move it around. So if I want it to be on different places on my page, it can. I can also go into the corners here if I want to expand it one way or another. I can make it bigger or smaller as well. So let's move back into our presentation here. And I'll give you a little bit more of a look into the different areas that we have on the top here. So we started to talk about these tabs. So we have our home menu here. This is where we're going to find the ability to put those check boxes next to our list. So check boxes are also considered tags, and we'll talk a little bit more about tags here in a second. But we also have the insert menu. The insert menu lets you add tables, files, and pictures that are saved on your device. You can also copy and paste content from the web, and the source URL is automatically added, such as text, images, and videos. And we'll use this menu more so later. We have the draw menu. You can use your mouse, finger, or a stylus to write and draw instead of typing. If you're using a paired Surface pen, you can start writing anytime. If you want to use your mouse or your finger, you'll need to select the Draw with Mouse or Touch button first, and then try writing. And on the View menu, you can choose how your notebook displays by selecting the navigation panes or add page color and rule lines. So let's bring my OneNote notebook back up here. And let's make this list into an actual checkbox list. So we are up here on our Home tab. And I'm going to look for this icon here. These are going to be my tags. So if I click on this drop down, I have many different tags that I can label my information with. Tags also makes it easier for me to search for certain information throughout my OneNote notebook. So we will click on To Do, and that is going to make that checklist for me. So I can go ahead and click on these and start to check them off my list. And it is a fully interactive list, so I can keep track of what I need to do during the day. OneNote for Windows 10 updates automatically, and new features are added all the time. Some new features are available only if you have an Office 365 subscription. OneNote can also help you plan for big events like hosting a dinner party. You can plan the menu by searching for recipes and collecting them in your notebook. Then you could create a shopping list. So if you wanted to, you could add a section into your OneNote and call it your dinner party section. And then you can create 2 pages for both the recipes and the shopping list. And here you could start inserting recipes onto the page. Now there's a few ways you could do this. If you have pictures of them, you could insert pictures. You can also insert PDFs into OneNote so you can see the physical PDF, or you can type out the recipe on your own. There's plenty of options there. On your shopping list page, you can tap anywhere on the screen to start typing to create some food categories, so like dairy, produce, spices, etc. And under each category, you can add items you need from your various recipes. And then, like we saw before, you can select a group of items from the home menu and select Tag as to do, like we just did, so that you can check them off on your phone as you shop. And just to show that one other piece there, the main portion is that you can choose to type anywhere within OneNote. So I can make a note there, I can make a note here, and I can continue to add those around to build up my OneNote. You even have the ability to assist with homework inside of OneNote. So let's take a look at a couple of the potential learning tools that are also available within OneNote. First, we have Immersive Reader. It's a free tool that implements proven techniques to improve reading and writing for people, regardless of their age or ability. It's built into apps like OneNote, Word, and our Microsoft Edge browser. A recent third-party study across 4th graders, 6th to 8th graders, and 10th to 12th graders showed that when using learning tools in their reading curriculum, comprehension scores improved across the board. Teachers in the study found that learning tools helped readers at all skill levels. An Immersive Reader has the following benefits. As we can see, it removes distracting user interfaces. So for example, it may remove some of the additional pictures. It will enlarge the text. It can change the background, but we'll see this in a bit. So we also have the simultaneous highlighting and voicing of text, while dimming the results of the page helps readers who prefer to focus on smaller passages at a time. Increased spacing helps reduce visual crowding. Different background colors help with eye strain and enable the user to personalize how they consume content. Increasing the size of text enables short line mode, a couple of words per line. The line focus tool was inspired by the original reading ruler, using a ruler to help a reader focus on a single line of text. And everything is personalized, so you can turn on the features that you want, like grammar, picture dictionary, syllables, and more. So let's take a very quick look at Immersive Reader. So we have this pulled up here, and to get into Immersive Reader, we need to click on our View tab here. Underneath View, the Immersive Reader button is going to be found right here. And we'll let that activate, and we can see that it changes my entire page. So we get some steps down here. We're going to click through these very quickly. But we see that it really enlarges my list here. So it's much easier for me to read. The spacing is a lot larger so that I can tell the differences between each line. Here at the bottom, I can adjust my voice settings so I can speed it up or slow it down. I can pause or play. Up here at the top, we have our text preferences, so I can change the size if I need it to be bigger. I want that increased spacing on. We can choose different fonts. These ones can be easier on the eyes or easier to read. as well as changing background colors to help avoid that eye strain. Then we have our grammar section. I can turn on these syllables if I want to see those in the text, as well as the different parts of speech if I want those to be labeled. And lastly, we have our reading preferences. So we can turn on the line focus. We can turn on the picture dictionary. So if we were to click on one of these words, I could get a picture definition for me. And I can even translate it into different languages. So that is a quick look at the immersive reader portion of OneNote. So we saw this portion. You go to the view menu. We see immersive reader is right underneath there. We have our text icon, grammar icon, and the reading icon, and we saw some of those potential changes there. And you can always select play to read what is on your page. OneNote and math. Now this is one of my personal favorite portions. So let's see what this video has for us. So that was our quick intro on the math portion. Like I said, one of my personal favorite parts. So let's take a better look at the math portion. So we'll dive back into OneNote for this one. We'll delete some of my extra notes on the page here. We're going to move that over. I didn't realize I can move that. See, I'm learning new things about Zoom as well. So anywho, we're going to move from our View tab into the Draw tab instead. And in our Draw tab, we have many different options. The Draw tab is my personal favorite also when it comes to OneNote. So let's see what we can do here. First off, I have a physical stylus pen with me. So if I start to draw on the screen, OneNote is automatically going to know what to do. But I really like to highlight this portion because it's very important. If you want to draw with your mouse or with your finger, you want to make sure that this button is clicked first. So if I wanted to draw with my mouse or my finger, I would have to make sure that portion is checked. Then if you want to go back to typing on the screen or adding extra things, you want to make sure that that button is turned off. But we'll be using my stylus, so we don't have to worry too much about that. But as we can see, we have the undo and redo button. This button makes sure that I am ready to type. We have the lasso, which we'll see in a second, and a large selection of pens, pencils, and highlighters that I can use to interact with my page. I can change the information for these by hovering over them, clicking on them, and then this little drop-down caret becomes available for me. So we can click on that. I can change the size, the color, or even take a look at more available colors if I want to get specific. I can even add more pens. As you can see, I have a fair selection myself, but you can always add more. So let's take a look at a couple of our drawing abilities. This is mainly what I use OneNote for. When I'm taking notes for anything, I love to use OneNote. I'm saving paper, but I'm still getting to write it down so I know it better. So let's take a look at the math portion first, since that is what we were just talking about. So if we put a simple math problem in here, we want to select our lasso tool, select it. And once it's selected, some of our options up here now become available to us. So we want math. And first you want to check here and make sure that OneNote has correctly read your handwriting. The more that you write in OneNote, the more that it will recognize your handwriting and know what you're trying to tell it. So don't be afraid to correct it so it can learn from you. We'll click on Ink to Math, turns it into this tiny icon for me here. Select an action, and I want it to evaluate it. So solve that problem for me. And it tells me that 2 plus 2 is 4. I can also see the steps. And I can even choose to drag this onto my page. So if I want those step-by-step solutions, I can generate those for me. I could even make a practice quiz based on the questions I put into my OneNote. So there's lots of possibilities here. And don't be afraid to keep writing in OneNote. You're not going to lose space. The more that you write down or to the side, OneNote will always create more space for you, so you can have an infinite page to work on. But for now, let's delete a couple of these. We can also do the ink to shape option. So if we click on ink to shape, and I draw a circle, it will make a much better looking circle for me. Same with triangles or squares. It will simplify those. I can do the same with writing my name as well. So if you write something and you would like this to be produced in regular text, you could do that as well. So let's highlight my name, see if OneNote knows my handwriting enough. And we need to click on ink to text. And there it goes. It puts it into regular typable text for me. So those are a few tidbits when it comes to our drawing section. We'll move back into the PowerPoint. So we saw this a little bit already, that you can add in a section, do some homework, type in that math, or write in that math, excuse me. We can see it on here too. You select that lasso, select your math, click math, ink to math, select an action, and you will want to evaluate in order to see the answer. We can click on show steps, the solution, and drag those solutions onto the page, just like we discussed. So if you want to practice that with one of your own equations, maybe something more complex, you can do that as well. With the natural disasters that we've seen in the news over the last few years, it's important to make sure that you have a backup of your most important documents. OneNote can provide that security and peace of mind when you insert images, documents, or PDFs in your notebook. Save the notebook to the cloud, making the need for paper copies obsolete. So we could add another section to demonstrate this for the insurance portion. Add some pages in there. And we can start inserting images or PDFs onto the page. Now, each page of the PDF does appear, and you can scroll through and read them. You can also update the title as needed. Also, if it landed in a place you didn't expect, you can click and drag the page to a different position in the page order. You can do the same thing with these sections you create. You can't really do that with paper. So let's see if we can pull up OneNote. I won't have a PDF document to put into it, but we can see what we can do with inserting portions. So this is something we would find in our Insert tab. And here we have File. So I could insert a file into here if I would like. And depending on how you're inserting the file, it could be a link to the file. So maybe you can open up a Word document from your OneNote. Or printout is where you can use the PDF. So if you have a PDF, just select it for printout and it will physically put the whole document into the page for you. And then of course you can also insert pictures or online video. So these can all be found in your Insert tab. OneNote can also help you facilitate effective meetings. You can write agendas, track participant attendance, log meeting days and times, take notes, and even send out recaps. You can also use OneNote to track your group, either you or your group that you collaborate with, and see those accomplishments weekly or monthly to help prepare for meetings and reviews. Actually, I clicked forward a little too quickly there. So you could add in a section here. You could keep track of your attendees, as we can see on the side. We have the attendees. There's the agenda with the bullet point list here. Any additional notes if you want to insert a table and use that portion as well. But this is a common use case for OneNote. And typically we would have an activity here where you would get to create your own OneNote notebook. I still want to talk about it a little bit because I want this to be something you take a look at after the workshop. Since there is a large amount of us here, it's good to kind of talk about it and send this off as something that you can do as OneNote practice. So it would give you a chance to kind of play a little bit more with the features of OneNote through these activities. So you can create a new notebook, either for the purpose of creating a meeting or getting organized. So the main portions that we want to focus on here is make sure you know how to rename your sections and your pages. Make sure you know how to add pages, change those titles. See if you can change the date or time that is present underneath your titles. Write some accounts, either make a bullet point list, write a paragraph, make a numbered list, etc. And add any additional color, tags, and drawings that you want. So we're going to review a little bit of what we've covered today, and then I am going to touch on some additional things in OneNote that I personally think are useful. That way, we make sure we're covering all of our necessary grounds. So today we've gone over the purpose and personal uses of OneNote, some organization tips for OneNote, and we're going to touch more on some resources and opportunities to continue learning. So let's pull OneNote back up again and touch on a few of those end pieces. So even though I do like the PowerPoint that we have for the presentation, I always like to point out extra things just to make sure we have everything covered.
Holly,
so you talked yes.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to interrupt 1 second.
Oh, yeah.
Have a question about using a classification label to make parts confidential, or like how do we protect our information?
Let me take a quick look. I actually don't know if I know that one straight off the top of my head here. But some of your protection is going to come based on how you share out your document. So if you are sharing your OneNote notebook with somebody, make sure you are editing these things so you know what they are allowed to do. So here is going to tell you who has access to it. So if it's anybody with the link, if it's people in your organization, people you specify, etc. And you can set an expiration date, you can set a password, or check that they're not allowed to edit at all. So towards the end, I can take a look. I believe there is a confidentiality setting that you can enable, but I just don't know that one off the top of my head. So we will take a look, but just make sure when you're sharing out your notebook that you're careful about those settings. So make sure you have these set in the way that you want them to be. And you can always click on this. What's that? Sorry.
Oh, I just said thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. No, you're welcome. Thank you. But you can also always click on this ellipsis next to the send link title and click on manage access. This is going to allow you to see everybody who has access to your OneNote notebook. So if you need to revoke it from anybody or change their ability to edit and to view, you can alter that there as well. So if you have a collaborative OneNote, be careful about how you share it out. So a couple of extra pieces here. We talked about our sections a little bit. And here at the bottom, we do have the ability to add a section and add a page. Those are commonly found at the bottom. Next to your demo notebook, there is another icon that's going to allow you to sort your pages. So you can sort them alphabetically by the date created or modified. On the left, we have our little library icon. We can click on it again to collapse that area if you want to see more of your notebook, or open it up if you click on it again. There is a search. So if you click on this magnifying glass, you can search for different things inside of your OneNote notebook. So if you were looking for all of your to-do tags, all of your check marks, you can do that within the search area. We also have the recent notes that we've added. So if you want to hop around in your OneNote notebook, you can click on the recent button here. I also like to point out with our tabs, at the very end here, we have the Help tab. Help is fantastic when you're getting used to a new program. If you ever forget something or need additional assistance, you can find it underneath the Help tab. So we have Help here. This is a FAQ. So if you type in one of your questions, it's possible that it's already been answered, so you can take a look at it there. You can also send us feedback. And we do have training for OneNote within OneNote itself. So if you click on Show Training, you can go over some of the things that we've talked about today. If you need more of a baseline on certain tools, you can find that here as well. Or you can check out pieces that maybe we didn't get to talk about today. So if you're worried about your sharing, you can talk about Share and Sync, and you can take this tutorial if you would like. We also have the What's New section. Microsoft 365 products are constantly updating to make sure that they are the best for you. So if you want to see anything that has been recently added to OneNote that may be an interest for you, you can click on the What's New section. In our View tab, there's a few other things we can add. We can zoom out or zoom in from here. You can change your page color. And you can even add lines. So if you are using this as more of a physical notebook, you can write in the lines and it will give you typical paper lines. There is even an ability to translate inside of OneNote. So if you are using things across multiple languages, the translate button may be very useful to you. And check accessibility. This one is big for me. If you are sharing out this OneNote notebook with other people, you want to make sure you are checking the accessibility. That way you know that everybody who is accessing your document is able to truly take in that information to the best of their ability. So make sure if you are sharing out documents that you are checking their accessibility. We already went over the Draw tab because that is my favorite tab. I find it to be one of the most useful, and it is the popular function for OneNote. Though you can also draw within Word, OneNote is prioritized for drawing and writing. So if you like using your hands, drawing is a wonderful tab to use. We went over a few things in the Insert tab, but you can create a table here. So we saw that Notes table. You can create a table. You can add a link. You can also record your own audio. So you can have a little audio clip that you can click on and play within your OneNote notebook. You can add any additional meeting details. So if your OneNote is connected to your Teams or your Outlook, you can bring in one of your meeting details and paste it inside of your OneNote page. So once again, if this is something you're sharing out with people, maybe you are expanding on your schedule and when you're available for certain things, you can put in any additional meeting details. If you need symbols or equations, you can find them here, as well as stickers if you want to spice up your notebook. And Researcher is also another very fun and important button. If you are using this to fill out information on a report of some kind, either for a superior or maybe in school, Researcher allows you to find information, articles, and to easily put them inside of OneNote to make it really specified for a research or report type OneNote notebook. So you can always dive more into Researcher, type in the event or concept that you're wanting to get more research on, and really try to stay within OneNote as you are completing your project. And then, of course, we still have our Home tab. So if you are familiar with Word, you can change the font size, bold, italicize, etc. We also have this format paste that I like to touch on. So if I had a particular format, maybe it was size 52, it was a red word, and it was in Times New Roman. I could copy those aspects of the word and paste it onto another word. So I can make another sentence in size 52 red Times New Roman if I wanted to. Your bullet point lists are here, as well as your numbered lists. One other portion on tags that I like to touch on is with this drop-down arrow. There are other things you can pick if you want to label what's inside of your OneNote notebook. And you can always create your own custom tags. So if there is something you're commonly labeling within your OneNote, you can create a custom tag for that. And lastly, before we really start moving into those questions, we have the dictate button. Dictate works in many different places in Office, but it's another one that's really powerful within OneNote. You can use dictate, you can speak to your computer and have it write into your OneNote notebook for you. So if I clicked somewhere on the page here, brought up a section, and we click on dictate, this is an example of dictate, period. We click on it again to make it stop, and we can see that it has produced on the page for me. The only thing you have to keep in mind is you do have to dictate the punctuation to it. So make sure you say period, comma, or exclamation mark if that is something that you want to use. So just to go over a couple of common use cases, we saw them in the PowerPoint, but don't forget that you can use OneNote to create to-do lists. You can use it as a collection of information. So yes, you can make a to-do list in Teams or in Outlook, and yes, you can draw within Word, but there are these aspects that work better when they all come together within OneNote. So you don't have to bounce between a bunch of different places to see that information. It's all in one place. You can see your to-do list, your meeting notes, your written notes all in one place. So you're not bouncing between a bunch of different apps. You can keep it all centralized within OneNote. And OneNote can be used across our other Microsoft 365 applications. So you can put OneNote into a team and you can work on it with a group of people. You can share OneNote out in Outlook or in SharePoint and have it with a group of people. That collaboration is also very useful, that you can work on it with other people. So with my extra 2 cents out of the way there, let's go ahead and move into the Q&A. I know we had that confidentiality question, which I'm going to take a look at as well. But if there are any other questions, go ahead and let me know. If I need to explain something differently or maybe show it again, I'm not afraid to do that either, so just let me know. But while we are waiting for additional questions, I am going to take a look at that earlier one. And thank you for your patience as I take a look at this. It's greatly appreciated. And I do want to go ahead and thank you all for joining me today and allowing me to teach you about this. It is an honor that I can. And I'm always happy to answer any questions. And also, if you ever have any future questions about OneNote, I will put my email in the chat. And if you want to email me and ask me questions about OneNote, don't be afraid to. If you ever run into any problems with any of your Microsoft 365 applications, feel free to ask me. I am here to help you. That is what I am here for. So the main portion I see with the confidentiality is the ability to password protect your OneNote, which is what we saw in the share area. And it looks like there are some demands to put confidential labels on OneNotes. So it may be that you can't put them in the OneNote itself, but let's say I put this OneNote into a SharePoint. That is a group cloud storage system. If I were to do that, I can put confidential labels on it that way. I can put it on the file itself rather than inside of the file. So I can continue to do a little more research on that to make sure we give you the best answer. but that seems to be where we are with that right now.
Okay. Someone asked about sharing on Nextdoor.
I'm not familiar.
Share. Oh, is it okay if she shares the PowerPoint on Nextdoor?
Oh,
Yeah.
the PowerPoint itself is technically an internal document of ours, but if you want to share the recording of this presentation, that is perfectly fine.
Okay, gotcha. And then let's see, can you show how, oops, to expand my chat? There we go. Can you show how to insert OneNote into a meeting request?
Yes. Are you talking about like a OneNote notebook inside of a Teams meeting? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that would be one way, or can we insert it into, say, an Outlook, appointment request or something?
Let's see, what's the best way to do this? If you do want to send it through Outlook, your share button is still probably one of your best bets. You don't have to share it out this way. So you can type in the name of the email here if you do want to email it out, but you can always copy the link and add that to any appointment that you may have or email that you're sending out if you want to attach that for people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's quite what the person is asking, but if there's any expansion on that, I can continue to expand as well. And I just now figured out how to open the chat, so I'm also taking a look at this.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm down toward the bottom. Can sections be moved in different orders after?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I kind of interrupted what you were saying there. I got
No, that's, yeah. Now you can see it, so.
So yes, you can move sections around. If you just click and hold on it and move it, you can change it. So if I want testing above to do or to do above testing, you can do that. Same with the pages. If I had multiple pages, just curate like 3, I can put this at the bottom or change it here. So you can always change the order of them if you want to. So just scrolling through really quickly here. Okay, I think I've answered most of the questions. I just now looked through the whole chat, so
Yeah.
Very active chat though. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. I actually have a question.
Yes.
Is there a place where, like you have in your PowerPoint some examples, is there a place where, like on Microsoft.com, where there are sort of examples of how people have used it?
Let me take a look and see if I can find something like that.
Okay.
And if I do, I can paste it into the chat so that everyone can see that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, I know like my head is going to explode with all the cool things I can do with this, but I know I'm going to forget.
Oh no, I totally understand. Especially when you're unfamiliar with certain applications and then you learn a lot about it. You're like, wow, this is a lot.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm always here for questions. So if you ever run into something, don't let it intimidate you. I am here to help you in your OneNote journey. Let me go ahead and very quickly. Yes, I haven't put my email in there yet, but I am about to. I saw somebody just made a comment on that. Let's see. I will be putting my email in there. So like I said, don't be afraid to shoot me something. And especially if I tried to answer your question, but maybe I didn't quite understand the whole thing and it's not quite helping, let me know and we'll get you a more thorough answer for sure. Yes, the staff notebook does come with a lot of examples. That is the education notebook that comes with Teams, and that one does have a very thorough set of explanations behind it.
Okay, awesome.
Because the staff notebook also has it where you have a section for just yourself, you have a collaboration section for you and all of your students, and then every student has their own personal notebook that you can see and they can see, but nobody else can see. So I love the education OneNote notebook.
Great.
Okay, I think I found a link here that I'm going to post in the chat in just a second. Oh, just kidding. The page no longer exists. That's nice.
Joe, thank you. Yeah, Joe, just posted that about the staff notebook thing too. Thank you for that.
Currently, I can't find any of our particular articles that I know lists the OneNote uses, and I don't want to post anyone else's articles if I don't get a chance to read them first. So
Yeah, that's fine.
Make sure it's the right content.
I can Google too. So.
But if that is something that's requested, I could totally make a document that discusses some of the potential uses of OneNote if that is something you all would be interested in seeing.
Oh, I would love it.
Definitely. I can put that together.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, does anyone else have any other questions? It looks like we are just about out of time. It says, actually, Brian asked, is there a calendar in OneNote?
Within OneNote itself, no, but OneNote is attached to the rest of your Microsoft 365 account. So that's why you have the ability to insert your meeting information, for example. So you won't have a full calendar, but you could put little bits of your calendar in there if you would like.
Yeah, I don't see anything else. Again, if anyone else does have questions, Holly's information is in the chat. This is Francie. I apologize. It's really dark in my house and it doesn't make sense for me to even attempt to show my camera because I look like a ghost. But no, I just, I thank everyone for attending. Hopefully, this was as helpful for you guys as it was for me. I know I'll have lots of notebooks to create. So anyway, and thank you so much, Holly. This was wonderful. We really appreciate it. I will be working on downloading the video and uploading that to our main events page, but I will be sure and send out a direct link to everyone as soon as that's done. I would say give me until tomorrow just in case anything weird happens, but yeah, so be on the lookout for that. And next up on the 28th, we have a bingo night for alumni. So hopefully that'll be fun. Hopefully you can all join for that too. So everybody have a great day and thanks again. Talk to you soon.
Thank you all for having me.
Thanks, Holly.